About 3 years ago, the world was rattled by a deadly virus which propagated its way throughout the globe, starting from Wuhan, a city in China. But deep down, the question of how the virus first emerged remains a mystery. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic started, a crucial question has eluded governments and health agencies around the world. Did the virus originate in animals or leak from a Chinese lab? But before we move on, please make sure you press that like button. And if you do like watching videos about politics and global paradigm shifts, then make sure you press that subscribe button as well. So how could we determine definitively if COVID-19 was a naturally occurring or bioengineered outbreak? The simple answer is, it's complicated. Many scientists believe the animal-to-human theory of the coronavirus remains much more plausible. They theorize it emerged in the wild and jumped from bats to humans, either directly or through another animal. In a 2021 research paper in the journal Cell, scientists said the COVID-19 virus is the 9th documented coronavirus to infect humans, and all the previous ones originated in animals. 2 studies, published last year by the journal Science, bolstered the animal origin theory. That research found that the Huanan seafood wholesale market in Wuhan was likely the early epicenter. Scientists concluded that the virus likely spilled from animals into people 2 separate times. The origins of the COVID-19 pandemic have been a subject of intense scrutiny since the virus first emerged in Wuhan, China in late 2019. There is a growing debate about the possibility of a laboratory origin. This hypothesis, known as the lab leak theory, suggests that the virus might have escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a high-security laboratory that studies bat coronaviruses. Proponents of the lab leak theory argue that there is circumstantial evidence to suggest that the virus might have been accidentally released from the laboratory, possibly due to a breach in safety protocols or improper disposal of waste. They point to the fact that the laboratory was conducting research on bat coronaviruses that are similar to SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, they highlight the fact that several workers at the laboratory fell ill with COVID-19-like symptoms in November 2019, just weeks before the first cases were reported in Wuhan. Now, there are 2 sides of this explanation. Firstly, the Chinese officials have denied these allegations, stating them to be based on forgery and misconceptions. Secondly, the proponents of the lab leak theory have come up with logical reasoning supporting their hypothesis. First up in the list, the organizations that believe in the lab leak theory. We have the FBI and the U.S. Energy Department. According to the FBI and the U.S. Energy Department, the Wuhan Institute of Virology is known for its world-famous research analysis on viruses and pandemics, and apart from that, the institute is also known to conduct frequent experiments on the transmission of viruses from animals to humans. The aforementioned institute has been studying coronavirus in bats for over a decade. The institute is a 40-minute drive from the Huanan wet market, where the first cluster of infections emerged. The controversial theory first emerged early on in the pandemic and was promoted by then U.S. President Donald Trump. Some even suggested it could have been engineered as a possible biological weapon. While many in the media and politics dismissed these as conspiracy theories at the time, others called for more consideration of the possibility. The idea has persisted, despite many scientists pointing out that there is no evidence to back it up. A classified U.S. intelligence report saying 3 researchers at the Wuhan laboratory were treated in hospital in November 2019, just before the virus began infecting humans in the city, began circulating in U.S. media in 2021. A few days ago, the U.S. Department of Energy said it had found the virus was most likely the result of a lab leak in Wuhan, but could only reach that conclusion with low confidence. In response to that, many scientists who have studied the virus said this week that there is no new scientific evidence pointing to a lab leak. But this debate is more than a lab leak. It has brought the 2 superpowers against each other and has threatened the safety of the continent. China has hit back at suggestions the virus may have escaped from a laboratory by calling it a smear. State media have consistently accused the U.S. government and Western media of spreading rumors about the source of the pandemic. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has fought back with an argument of its own. China has pushed another theory, suggesting the